Welcome to That's What We Think with Connie and Steve. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Hi, God. I'm good. How are you? My
Oh,
God, I sound like
good.
a 5-year-old. What's that? Oh my God. Whoa. But after so many episodes in, the fact that I can still have a laugh, it's all good. I love
Well, that's good. It's good to know that, I
it.
can make you happy at least.
You do, you do. So what's going on, my friend? What's happening today?
Well, I thought we could maybe delve into something a little bit more
Oh,
psychological,
okay.
like
Okay. Eek.
dreams
Eek.
and nightmares.
Ooh,
We all have them.
we
You're
do.
supposed to have them.
We do.
You know, they say that if you're not dreaming, you go insane. But I don't know. How do you know that? How is that even quantifiable?
I don't know, but I always thought that there's a reason if you don't remember your dreams, there's a reason why. One of the things my therapist said, when you have a dream, it's never what you think. You may be thinking, oh my God, that was a wonderful dream, but it may not actually be rooted in happiness. It could be rooted in something completely different. And it's always a surprise when you do listen to somebody who's interpreting and telling you what it means, how vastly different you thought it was. That's the part that I find the most interesting. And it's always about you. Always.
Yeah. There are very different takes though on dream interpretation, right? Like
Right.
there's not just one, it's not like this is exactly what it means,
Right.
right? There's so many different people that have different thoughts on what dreams mean. I have my own opinions on my dreams
Okay.
and the meanings, and there are times when yes, they have been about me, and there are other times where I absolutely know
Hmm.
that they've been about somebody else.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Do you remember your dreams?
I do, but I don't. And
Yeah.
like I said, I think the ones that I don't remember are probably for a reason why that I don't remember. But it's never the happy dreams or the so-called happy dreams. It's the nightmares and the
Mm,
heavier ones that always tend to stick
right.
around the most. And
Yeah.
there's just this weight I find when you do have one of those type of terrifying dreams and how dark they can get. Well, for me
Yes.
personally, this is just me.
Yeah.
When I've had those darker, scary ones where you wake up,
Yeah.
or something's attacking you. Now, I mean, I could disagree with you. I do believe that it is about you.
Yeah.
I know you say that there's other that you're thinking, but I will just say that part. But
Yeah.
everybody has their own interpretations. You're right,
Of
and
course.
that's fine and fair. But nightmares,
Yeah.
you just wonder where the hell these come from. What's going on in your brain? you know, because they can
Well,
be
okay, I'm
scary.
going to share with you a couple of dreams,
Good ones.
good and bad. I'll share a couple of them and then you can tell me what you think it
Uh,
means. Okay,
okay,
so I
I'll try.
had a dream of a random neighbor, somebody I know, but I don't know very well. Um, but I had a dream of them,
Hmm.
and she was pushing a cart with her new baby in it. I know she just had this baby, and her other child standing at her side, and she's pregnant. She has like a blooming belly. And I was like, "Oh my god, congratulations. I'm so happy that you're pregnant." And I wake up in the morning and I was like, "That's very strange." So I message her and I said, "I had a dream of you yesterday." And she was like, "Really? That's weird." And I said, "I know. I had a dream that you were pregnant." And she was like, "Oh, yeah, I don't think so." Because she had just had a baby. And
Yeah.
she was like, "In fact, my husband is going to have a vasectomy today." So I was like, "Okay. I'm not saying you're pregnant. I'm just saying I had a dream that you were pregnant." And she calls me about 3 weeks later. She was very
No.
upset
Oh no.
because she was pregnant.
Oh no.
I said, "I told you you were." I do that all the time. I dream when people are pregnant and then they end up being pregnant. And so she got very upset and I was like, "I did not get you pregnant." I don't know how you thought that could have worked, but it wasn't me.
Do you know what my interpretation of that is?
What?
Is don't tell people. That's what I think.
Maybe.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've done it before. I've done it with my sister-in-law. That was, like, the first time I've ever done it with somebody that's not related to me and not connected to me at all. I've
Right.
never been able to do that before.
Yeah.
So, there's that. And then
That's
there was
interesting.
another dream,
Uh-huh. Of
and I remember this dream in such detail that I can actually see it as I'm telling you this dream.
course.
I'm
Those
walking
ones are
down the
interesting.
street.
Yeah. Go
I
on.
passed by my grandmother's house and I'm at an intersection and the light's red and this mama pig crosses on the diagonal, like does like a jaywalk, and it meets its two baby pigs and then they go and walk off together.
Okay.
And I see my grandmother, she's walking toward me and we meet and she's like, "Come on, let's go home." So I turn around and we walk back to my grandmother's house. Instead of going into the door beside the garage,
Yeah.
we went in from the front door. We approached the front doors and they both open, and her brother and sister are there, my aunt and uncle who opened up the door. Both of them had passed already. They both opened the door, and my grandmother had always said prior to this, when you dream of the dead, it means that they're coming to take somebody. And
Oh my
so I
gosh.
look.
That's
Yes.
terrifying.
Yes, it is, right? So I look at my grandmother and I'm like, "No, I don't want you to go." And she's like, "I have to, and it's going to be okay. Don't worry." And she walks up the stairs and disappears in this white light. And then 2 weeks later she dies in real
Yes.
life. My grandmother always had dreams of birth and death. I very often had dreams of birth and death as well. I'm not having a dream of every single person that
No, 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 no.
lives or
If you did,
dies.
that would I think that
That
would
would
literally drive you crazy. That would be,
exactly, it'd be like going,
that's
"I do
too
not want to
much.
sleep anymore." But yeah, so that's why I come from the place of not every dream is about you.
Okay, fair enough.
Now, my reoccurring dreams,
Yeah.
I know are about me.
Okay. Okay.
I had this one dream and, you said your therapist, listens to this, so she's gonna have a field day with this one. But I've interpreted it. I woke up and I knew, the I knew what the dream was about.
Okay.
The very last time that I had this reoccurring dream, I went into the exact same old Victorian house. I'd walk through the exact same doors. There was something dark in this house that I was always fighting. And I would go after the ghost or the scary thing. I wasn't afraid of it and I wasn't running away from it. I was going after it. I'd go up the stairs and I'd have this fight. So there's this Hawaiian prayer called Ho'oponopono, which goes, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you." And you repeat
Right.
until you feel peace.
Okay. Right.
So I see the house and the inside looks different. It's been renovated and it's a hotel now, and it's never been a hotel. I'm confused. I'm like, where are the stairs? And the person at the front desk says, "Oh, you don't want to go up there. There's something bad up there." And I said, "No, no, no, I'm going to." And she was like, "Okay." She goes, "They're just over there." So I go up the stairs. I'm at the top of the stairs, and at the end of the hall is a room. And in that doorway is the dark thing, the thing that
Okay.
I keep on fighting.
Right.
But this time, instead of going to battle it, as it's coming toward me, I start reciting the Ho'oponopono.
Okay.
"I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you." And I'm saying that I'm walking closer to it. It's coming closer to me, but it's kind of stopping. And it's a dark hallway and I'm repeating it and then all of a sudden it gets light and the bad thing goes away and all the ghosts that were trapped in the house go away. and the whole house becomes light. It's not dark anymore, and the bad thing's gone. And I woke up immediately after having that dream.
That was a happy ending dream.
Oh, yeah, no, no, it's a happy ending dream.
Yeah, that's nice. So
This time I wasn't fighting it. I was just saying this Ho'oponopono. And
right.
I woke up and I said, I am the house. The house is me. And that whatever it was that I had been battling
Yeah,
was inside of me
right.
and it's
Right.
gone now.
Yeah. Did you feel when
And I
you woke
felt lighter.
I was gonna say, when you woke up, how did you feel? Like,
Yeah,
were
I
you
felt lighter.
okay? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I do not have the psychological background at all to determine what it is that
Just
you just
to
dreamed.
tell me,
I,
so
I
should wait a second. Should I get a couch and lie down on it while you explain to
no,
me
because I mean,
what any of those dreams meant?
I can't. I think the great thing about about your dreams is that you remember them,
Oh, I
which
remember every single dream.
you're like my friend Sue. She remembers as well, and
Mhm.
terrible at remembering a lot of them because
Yeah.
I've chosen not to remember them. What you've just described is really interesting, and I guarantee you, my therapist would absolutely talk to you because it's always interesting because again, like I said, I in my head and when I've said it and told her, I've always said, "Well, isn't that great?" And she's like, "It's never what you think it is," and it's
Yeah.
always a surprise when you have somebody from a professional background s- explain to you the significance and the symbolism and all that stuff that's
Yeah.
related to these dreams or nightmares. And when it comes to you winning that fight, which is great because you actually
Without
recited,
fighting this time, though.
but you had a tool in place to block what was dark. Like you
Yes.
were working this one interpretation in some way, which you would repeat to yourself to not allow it to win, which
Yeah.
is important to battle these type of things. I think I used to think that we have these things in our brains where we tend to like to go down the same path. It's a well-worn path, but sometimes those paths may not be the best to be walking down
Yeah.
because it has the capacity to make you upset, angry, um, sad, those type of things. But
Mhm.
we know them so well and we keep going down them and we revisit them in our dreams because despite those sad and awful feelings, they're familiar
Yeah.
and they're comfortable.
Yeah.
And there's a disturbing aspect to be comforted by that type of thing, right?
Right. And well,
And
and you have an you know what the outcome is going to be.
or
So
not.
there's no surprise really.
Sometimes there can be. I think I think it would be scarier if like I've had dreams where it's been a nightmare scenario. This did you ever see the movie The Substance?
I haven't seen it yet. I know you've told me to watch it.
It's because there's certain aspects of it where I understand. I've had dreams of a similar nature where it was just this thing that was constantly chasing me. It was me, but
Mhm.
it was this
Yeah.
hideous, deformed, terrifying thing, and I could not get the hell away from it
Yeah.
until I confronted it. Um,
See, I
but
always confronted it
but do you
in my dream.
okay? If you don't, do you ever have you ever woken up like you're not awake, but you're awake from something that
Yes.
was upsetting and scary or whatever, and then gone back into it? Has
Yes.
it okay? When you've gone back into it, is it get better or has it gotten? Did it ever get worse or did it get better or did it just get weird? I think maybe that's a better word.
Uh Sometimes it's gotten just different.
When I look back now, I haven't had a nightmare in a while. I've had good dreams
Mhm.
or dreams that are not going to cause me to wake up in the
Right.
middle of the night. And it's only been since I moved. There's been, I think, because it's been calmer than it
Yes,
has
I
been
was
in
just
a
gonna say
very long,
less stress.
way
Stress will
less stress.
give
Oh
you
my
more
God.
nightmares.
I, I don't think people understand that just
Mhm.
the significance of stress
Yeah.
and how not only does it affect you when you're awake, but it really does get in the way of your dreams and gets into your system when you're asleep. And I think everybody has their own methods of dealing with it, and that's fine. But when you're sleeping and those things are starting to interact with your brain, that's a sign, I think, where you need to not seek help. That's not what I'm suggesting,
Mhm, mhm.
but you need to confront whatever it is
Well,
in your
sometimes it
awakened
is seeking
state.
help. Sometimes it is
Maybe.
getting,
I won't, but
seeing
I
a
don't want to
therapist or
suggest, yeah, but I
yeah,
don't want to make that suggestion.
that you have to. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just whatever it is that you're not dealing with when you're in your awakened state is definitely making its way into your sleeping state. And those are the worst. It's the worst because you know it. What did I
Yeah.
tell you um, when you said you can sleep and you were, it said write it down.
Oh, to write it down. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that's not even a therapist thing. That's just, I've seen that a lot
Oh, yeah.
where,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it, like little tools and little things like that help
Yes.
to calm
Actually,
an overactive
that's
mind,
how
right?
I wrote a slam poem
Oh, yeah.
that ended up winning first place.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was rolling in my head.
Yeah.
So I got up in the middle of the night,
Mhm.
sat on the toilet, closed
Yeah.
the door, and wrote it down. And David's like, Connie, are you okay in there? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just writing. And he's like, oh, for God's sakes. He wouldn't have said for God's sakes, actually. He would have said something a little bit
Fair
more.
enough. Yeah.
Um, and so I wrote this whole poem, and it was a winning slam poem.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
See, now that's cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I
Like
I th
sometimes that's what I'm saying. I don't know if all dreams are necessarily an analyzation of ourselves or
Not
if
always.
it's,
Not
you
always.
know,
Sometimes
sometimes
it's
it's ideas or
just
something or
something.
just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, well, okay, I'll tell you a dream that I had last
Mhm.
night. It was a TTC, and I was on my way. I don't know where I was. I think I was heading home in some strange capacity, and I was on the young subway line. It was the old subway trains that were red.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know where the hell that came from, but it must have been in my brain somewhere. And at one point, they had announced that the train wasn't going any further and that we had to make plans to take another transportation to wherever it was that I had to go. So I get off the train and I'm walking up the stairs and heading towards, where the turnstiles are.
Right.
But the lady that was operating the TTC booth was outside of the booth and she was on the ground and she was literally Windexing the the turnstiles, like polishing them. And I've never seen that before. And I just called out to her and I
Because
said,
nobody cleans
no
those.
one does, especially the people in the booth, for God's sake. They wouldn't do that. And she pops up and she has a smile on her face. And I said, what's going on? Why did the train stop? And she said, oh, I don't know. It's probably just maintenance. And, we're really sorry. I go, well, they could have announced it a little bit earlier. She goes, I know, but that's just the way the TTC is. And I'm like, maybe this is the reality popping into the dream here. So,
It is pretty much how it is.
exactly. So she suggested go downstairs and catch a bus. So I did. And I made my way to this um, gigantic area where there's all these different platforms with all the destinations all written up on the ceiling, like different signs everywhere. But it was chaotic in that thing, and I had ripped my jeans. So I'm holding on to the back of my pants because it ripped there, and I'm walking down, trying to look around to see which destination I was supposed to take. There was a fight between these two passengers. There was this weird entity as well that I couldn't quite describe, but whatever it was, I just knew it was better to stay away from that area.
Mhm.
All these things were going on, but it wasn't a nightmare. It was just a dream. And
Right.
it didn't wake up going, oh my God, oh my God. It just went, what the hell was that? And again, this is where I usually would write it down and then she would interpret it and tell me
Right.
give me an idea of what's going on. And for me, with my interactions with her, um, it's never what I think it is. What looks like a simple dream about some idiot who got lost in the TTC turns out to be something completely and utterly evolved. And I love that. I
Right.
love that part, Connie,
Yeah.
where
So
that,
have you learned then from the her interpretations of your dreams from seeing her for
yeah,
as you know.
Years.
Have you learned what her method is? So then that way now
Yes.
you can look at your dreams and go, "Oh, okay. Now I recognize whatever pattern it is and this is what it means."
I would say no, only because it's never what I think it is. And
Oh, okay.
when I think I'm like, oh, see, I'm thinking just the way you do. It's like, no, it means this. I'm like, really? I'm always surprised.
Mhm.
And to be perfectly frank about that, I think I like the surprise because it's
Mhm.
telling me something on a much deeper level that I'm missing.
Right.
And it's her job to point it out because whatever it is that's going on is directly related to what's happening in reality. And it may be something that I'm ignoring or potentially missing. This, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this is where I'm listening for the dream and
Right.
realizing there is much more to it. With when she when we do get into the conversations about the nightmares, those ones I do find way more interesting because they're terrifying.
Yeah.
And I have terrifying dreams that
So
I
are you
used to
having
used to
nightmares or night terrors?
both.
You're having both?
Not anymore.
Did
I
you
used
like
to.
so when you were a kid, were you
Oh,
having night did you have night terrors? Do you remember having them then?
no, I never had them. I just had
Really?
nightmares.
Usually that's a common thing for a lot of young kids to have, right? Is night terrors.
I don't know now. I'll tell you, there's a lot of my childhood that I kind of blocked or forgotten.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, it's a good question. I'll have to ask and
Yeah.
see. Maybe mom might
Yeah.
know more than I do.
Yeah. I remember having night terrors when I
Oh
was a
yeah,
kid.
'cause I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
did you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would the one that sticks out the most is when I was a kid. I would dream within a dream and seeing all the walls charred down to the studs, and there's charred bodies
Oh my God!
standing. I go to scream, but I can't because I have sleep paralysis. So I
Right.
can't scream, I can't move. I'm just laying there wanting to scream and going, "Why can't I move?" Now, that house burnt down, and we end up finding out that there were other houses that were on that spot that had burnt down. And since I think on that property, something else had caught fire as well, which again, is that about me?
I don't know. I ask her. I
I
don't
know.
know. I think that that is a very disturbing.
It was very as a
Yeah.
child,
Oh,
I
I
can tell
know.
you, and it is very common for children to have night terrors, oh,
Absolutely.
where they get the sleep paralysis and they can't scream, or they're waking up screaming every single night.
Yeah. No, I never had that. My fears were very much rooted in vampires. Um, I have if my social media profile is like if somebody posts something about Salem's Lot,
Yes.
I always have something to say about that. That movie effed me up in
Oh,
ways
really?
that, oh my sweet Jesus, yes, it did. And if Liz Cominix is listening to this, I don't know if you remember, Liz. Remember all of us at your house watching Salem's Lot, and we were on our way back to another friend's house. It was dark, and Phil Giroux, one of the guys, he leaped out from behind a car to scare us. I'm 7 years old. I was deeply traumatized by watching these vampires, and
Again,
I
watching scary movies
screamed.
at an
Oh,
inappropriate age.
oh, never do it. I mean, but it was so realistic. I could never look out the window. I couldn't go in our basement. That was all reality based, but it
Yeah,
infects you in your dreams in different
of
ways, though.
course.
It shows up. Um, and it still weaves its way through, which is interesting that despite the childhood, and there's always a childhood aspect to a lot of these things,
Yes.
um, it still weaves its way through your brain as an adult.
Mhm.
And coming to terms with that required a great deal of therapy too. But you wouldn't think that people would say, "Oh, well, that's crazy that that is part of your life now." It's like, yes, because it's not what you think it is. It's not
Yeah,
some oogie boogie coming out to scare you and
yeah.
suck your blood.
It's not
It's
yeah, it's not a
it's it's
vampire.
it's about it's fear. It's about um not being prepared. It's about a bunch of things that you're not
Loss of control.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And it shows up in your dreams and in your nightmares and in your fears when you're asleep. The paralysis part, yes, older, um, where you are caught and you're like, because you can't. It's so scary.
Yeah, it's kinda like you're in between sleep. So your
Oh,
body is still asleep, but your mind is now you're caught somewhere
yeah,
in that dream
yeah.
state.
The condo that Jim and I had before we moved, fabulous condo. Love that
Yeah,
place.
it was beautiful.
But I, I do. I had there's a lot of nightmares in there,
Oh,
and
really?
one of them quickly became very dark. So much so that it did follow me up as you try to get awake because you do want to stop. Like it's a fascinating thing about your brain is that if it's going into that scare scape when you're sleeping, you
Yes.
really want to get the hell out of there. But it followed me through it enough for me to be not awake, not quite sleepy, but just enough to think something's there, something's coming, and I felt completely powerless in the dreamscape. It's like whatever was going on in that in between state
Right.
where and I said to Jim the next day, I go, "Did you hear me?" He goes, "No." Because I thought I was making noise.
Right.
I knew I was, and I thought I actually yelled out
In real life,
in
yeah.
real life. I think I might have. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
He could have been also in a deep sleep and not
he
heard you.
talks like he's I've mentioned about like him talking too.
Yeah.
And a couple of times where there's been moments. David too, has he ever
Oh, David talks all the time.
mm,
Constantly. He doesn't
that's
remember
interesting.
any of his dreams,
Do you
but
ever
he
write it down,
talks.
Con?
No. However, there was one night where I'm sitting here, writing, and I can hear him talking. He's sleeping. I open up the door a bit, and he's talking in Italian. And I
What?
said to, the girls, I said, "He's talking to Nonna," like his mom, the girl's
Yeah,
grandmother,
yes.
and, and they were like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, I just feel like he's talking to her." And so when he woke up that day, I said, "Did you have a dream of your mom last night?" And he goes, "Yeah." So how did you know? I said, "You were talking to her. I could hear you."
Wow,
I think she was in the room with him
interesting.
visiting and they were having a conversation.
What did he say? That must have freaked him out a little bit, eh?
He said he felt like she was there,
Okay.
and I said she was definitely there, which is kinda nice. I think it was comforting to him.
I agree. After Robbie died, oh, I used to have so many dreams
Mm,
of him. But there was one where I was heartbroken because I kept following him from room to room, trying to get his attention. But I couldn't get him. I was reaching, trying to get him, and I could hear his voice, and he was talking, but I don't think he was talking to me. It's like it was breaking my heart. And
mhm.
then he did turn around, and then I got that smile,
Yeah, it's nice
and
when they come and visit.
and it was. And do you know? I will tell you, I haven't had that sort of dream about him in a very long time.
Mm,
And that meant to me that it was closure in its
yeah,
own way.
yeah,
And I appreciated that. But I
yeah,
got to see him smile again, Con.
yeah,
And that made me so happy.
yeah,
And that was enough.
yeah,
And now, I do believe it was closure.
yeah,
And
and for him to
not closure.
probably
Closure is a
tell
terrible
like
word, isn't it?
no, it's probably him telling you he's okay
Yes,
and you're gonna be okay.
that's right. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that was a journey. It's a journey just to kind of
Oh,
get
yeah.
past.
I
You
know.
know this.
I had dreams of my dad. He had a wingback chair that he always sat in, and he was standing beside the chair. He wasn't sitting in it, and I got to hug him and say, how much I missed him. I know I was crying
Of course.
out loud, crying because I was bawling my eyes out, but I got to hug him, which is
I
nice because I didn't get
it's
to hug him
that is
before.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And that's why I think when this is why sometimes when you do have beautiful memories and dreams like that, it's it doesn't necessarily have to be rooted in something.
yeah,
Sometimes it's just love.
yeah.
And
And I do think that they
that's
do
good.
visit us in our dreams. It's the
I
only
think
way
so
that we
too.
can see them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's still so fresh, Con. I can
I
see
know.
it. It still is.
Yeah.
I've had 20 years. Which is a
Right.
long time.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Almost 20 years. And my life has changed in so many ways. And do you know what I said to Alex? Uh, that time with Rob gave me the tools to appreciate the time that I have with Jim. And I needed that,
Right.
despite the heartbreak of that and the fact that afterwards of just dealing with it mentally and infiltrating my sleep and my dreams and causing me to wake up in the middle of the night in tears or just incredible sadness was the journey. I needed to go through all of that stuff
Right.
to get to this place.
Yeah.
And it's a horrible lesson and it's a horrible way sometimes, but it's also really beneficial to
Right.
make you wake up in your own way, I suppose.
Yeah.
Still dream
Well,
though.
everyone comes in our lives for a reason, right?
Yes,
And
that's what you
they're
said.
here to
Yes.
teach us a lesson every single time, right?
Every
So,
time, my friend.
yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I hate stupid fucking lessons.
Oh, I love you so much. Oh man.
Well, it's true. And they suck.
And Party Di Pietro Sperigino, do not delete that. Do not. You know, I hate lessons too. Damn it,
Yeah,
they suck.
they do.
But how else are you supposed to move forward?
I know.
Anyways, yeah. So,
Have you had the, like, the common themes that they
mm,
say in dreams? So, like, the teeth falling out, the being chased, the falling.
yes, yes. Not the teeth. But what's the
Oh, you've
teeth?
never oh, yeah. A lot of people
What?
have, like, dreams where they're pulling their teeth out, and that
What?
yeah. Yeah, you didn't know that that was a dream?
No.
Yeah, I've had that.
I love you, lady.
Sorry, I'm wiping my
I
tears
know
from
that's what I
earlier.
said. I love you, lady, so much. Um, yeah. I I wonder what that means.
I don't know, but it's
Ugh.
gross. Like, I've had
It's
it where I've like, you're like you reach in and then all of a sudden you pull one tooth, but they all come out. So my grandmother
what?
we used to say that my grandmother was a strega, which means witch,
Yes. There you go.
right?
Yeah.
She would say,
Thank you,
if
Broad City, for that because that's where I learned that word from. Such a great job.
if your teeth are falling out, it has to do with death. Italian stuff is always birth or death.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting that.
Your back tooth is either a close family member or your front teeth are close family members, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I can I don't think there's ever been any sort of self-harm. I can
Oh, it never was like a
honestly
harm. It was more like
no.
a shock. Like,
You know
oh
what I
my
mean? Like
God.
it's
Yeah.
it's I've never when I mean self-harm, I don't mean it like deliberately. What I mean is it's just
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever had dreams where I've had me doing something to myself.
Yeah.
It's usually me running away from something
Oh, yeah. So
or
you've had
getting
the chase
away.
dreams.
Oh, absolutely.
And
The
you're
falling
like, are you in
down,
slow motion?
yes.
Yeah.
You're just shocked at the fact that you can't move as fast as you know you can,
Yeah.
or you've fallen down and you cannot get up.
Supposedly, they say when you fall in a dream, if you land, you're dead.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I remember having a dream where I was falling
Mhm.
and I landed and I'm like in the dream I'm laying on the ground and thinking, "Am I dead?" Because people were walking around me and then when I woke up I was like, "I don't think I was supposed to land." Like I fell, but I don't think you're supposed to land.
I'm just going over my head. I mean, I'd have to consult my therapist. She has all the notes. I just like just to see, have I ever mentioned
Landing.
landing? I
Yeah, and I landed with a thud,
oh,
like,
you could
as
could you
if
feel it?
I could feel it.
Yeah.
So, in that dream, my dad is flying a plane. David and I are in the back, and he's flying too low, and we get caught in the electrical lines. I can feel the wire of electricity in a line on me. We keep on flying, and then he flies way too high and the airplane disappears, and we're all falling. I'm mad at my dad because he was flying a plane when he shouldn't have been. And I landed on the ground with such a thud that I could feel it in my chest just because it's such a hard vibration. And I'm thinking, am I dead? My second thought was, oh, my kids. What's going to happen with my kids? All the details that I was worried about. It was like, why did I land? Supposed to live. They say you're dead. So maybe
That's
I'm dead.
I'm sorry. I immediately my head went to King of the Hill with when Peggy Hill fell out of the airplane and her parachute didn't open and she's
She
out.
landed. That is kind of exactly like that.
Wow. Oh my god, which was so shocking and hilarious. It was so shocking. I I can't say that I know that feel, but I do know that feeling of falling. And
Oh,
you can and dropping, sorry, like you're going down something and
right.
that just like that thrills feeling that you get when you're on a roller coaster,
Yeah,
except it's not thrilling when you're in whatever dream scenario that you're dealing
right.
with that revolves around that, around falling. And that is one of my biggest fears is falling.
Is
Now,
falling?
specifically, oh, Connie, that is now my biggest fear is falling because I don't think I can.
Yeah. Whenever there's ice on the driveway, I'm like, I walk like I'm 90 years
Me
old
too.
because I don't want to fall. I don't
Oh
want to
my
hurt
god.
myself.
I look down, like when I'm walking on the street, like my head isn't up like it used to be. I'm looking down on the ground because I don't want to trip and fall because it's happened before. And oh my god, I died when that happened. It happened in Budapest, and I didn't see. They have these little um, barrier things, like the round circular barriers that
Right.
stop cars from going near the train tracks. I didn't see one, so I tripped and flew and fell on my ass.
How
And
tall is it?
oh, it's pretty significant, but I didn't
Oh,
see it
okay.
because I was looking high. I was looking up, and these two young men picked me up, and I went, "Thank you, young kids. Thank you so much." Because it was. I'm an old man, and they were young, and I did not feel any less 50 than I did then. But honestly, I think that fear is definitely in a lot of my dreams, and it's something that I need to work on. I know this, I will,
Yeah.
but you know, it, like anything, it
What
requires an
does your
interpretation.
therapist say that falling means?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
she taught you about sleep hygiene and everything like that then,
no.
right? Like
What's that?
sleep hygiene is like what you do in order to get yourself ready and prepared for bed.
Oh
So
no.
that way when you go to sleep, you're in a better space. Meaning
Oh,
like don't look at your phone for an hour before going to bed and having a cool room and comfy blankets and the pillows exactly the way you want it, like making almost like a nest.
I've never heard of this before, so that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, even having a warm bath before going to bed.
Right. What do you do?
So for me,
Yeah.
I do try to not look at my phone before going to bed. I have my phone put far away. I am listening to a sleep playlist with it's a very long tonal type of music called Fall into Sleep Instantly.
Okay.
And it literally makes me fall into sleep instantly. Even if I put it on during the day, if I'm anxious at all, it just pulls me right down and I'm nice and calm and relaxed.
Don't you find it fascinating, Connie, that we need those tools
Oh, yeah.
because I never used to. I used to be
Well,
able to fall asleep, no problem at all.
really?
Obviously, well, I know, right? We're younger. You're easy to do it. As you get
Yeah.
older, well, for me, anyways, it definitely got
My
harder.
brain out was always working hard.
I do what you do. I have a
Yeah.
mask now
Yeah.
that not only is it a darkening mask, which is fantastic, but it also has like what's the word I want
Like
to
a
use?
headset in it
Yeah, so
or
that I can listen to and I have it right here on Spotify and it's called Piano Sleep Relaxing.
yeah.
So it's just piano kind of playing away and it works every time
Yeah.
because and now I can't do without it.
No.
I tried and I hear the noise. I can hear
Yeah.
it.
The
It's
snoring beside you.
there's that too, which is why I ended up getting in the first place.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize just how reliant you become to it. Even like
Yeah.
when Jim's away, I still use it.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
concerning. I'd like to see if I can go without it, but I don't think
But
I can
why? Why if it's helping you get to sleep quicker?
because I wonder if that's just like
It's not like you're
like a
taking a
crutch.
medication. A medication to go to bed would be worse because those
Oh, right.
medications, right,
Yeah,
shut off your brain, which your brain isn't supposed to be turned off. It's supposed to be calmed. When they do the MRI scan of a brain that is asleep, you're still seeing all the activity in the brain,
right.
right? It's just at a calmer, slower pace. And there's certain centers, obviously, that aren't. But when you see a brain that is medicated, right,
Yeah,
with some kind of sleep aid, those centers now that would have and should be lit are black. There's nothing going on. So to me, I don't want anything stopping my brain from working
right,
because I
right.
have enough of my own internal fear of Alzheimer's and stuff like that that I don't need that as
Fair.
well.
Yep.
But I do
And,
have the sleep mask. Mine's silk, so then that way I don't, get wrinkles. You
and
gotta
there she
think of
is.
these things, right? It's bad
Yes.
enough that they come in anyways. I mean, the other day I saw like my eyelids were drooping in a certain way, but if I pulled on my eyebrows for a bit, it went back. I was like, "Oh, this is kind of neat. I don't need a facelift. I just have to like pull on my skin for a bit and I'm good."
So you went from a sleep aid to helping you to actually cosmetic aid more than anything else. And you missed
Well,
my comment where I said, there she is. Look, I, I I think if whatever you need to do to help you get to sleep,
yeah,
you have to do it.
yeah,
And I find that it's very relaxing just to have the darkness more than anything else. I need it to be pitch black.
yeah, me
And
too.
because any sort of light, it's game over. I can't.
No,
And it scares me, which is why I can't even sleep on a plane.
yeah,
It's too
yeah.
bright. It's
I
too
went to my sister's and I forgot my sleep mask.
it's the
I didn't bring
worst.
it. She has all these little night lights, so I'm pulling them all out, but then there's lights coming from the street. I'm trying to make the blinds, but it still didn't
Yep,
completely connect,
yep.
and I'm, like, going, "Oh my god," and I told her, and she was because she asked, she goes, "How are you sleeping?" And I said, "I can't. There's so much light coming into that room." She was like, "Oh, wait, you should have said something," and then she gave me, one of the sleep masks that she had from the
Why
airplane.
didn't you say something?
I don't
I
know, I just
panic.
didn't.
I
I
panic when
I
I don't
didn't
have
think
mine.
of I didn't think of anything. She made sure I had the proper pillow so that I could sleep because I need a certain pillow or else then my neck hurts and everything. So I need
Yeah,
it to be so she had, she's a great hostess. She, makes sure that you have the proper
yeah.
stuff and everything. Thank God. Once I had that. So it was only 2 days of not sleeping great.
I mean, it's look. I'm with you. It's hard enough for me to sleep. I,
Right.
anything that can provide some sort of benefit, and that includes pillows.
Mhm.
Sometimes like if when Jim and I go to his sister and brother-in-law's cottage, they have them, but I
Oh,
always
I
bring
always
ours
bring my
too.
pillow if I'm going somewhere where I can bring my pillow.
Yeah,
Obviously, if it's on a plane, I can't.
when it's your own personal bed,
Yeah,
spend the money. You
yeah,
spend a great majority of your life in bed,
Sleeping. Yeah.
and that means good sheets, good pillows, good mattress, all
And a
those
ceiling
things.
fan.
Oh, definitely. Like
Especially
all of
when you're
it.
menopausal, you need a ceiling
Well,
fan.
yeah, well, there's
Maybe
that too.
another floor fan too. And then you have to stick your leg out because your leg is like this kind of thermometer where if you stick your leg out, your whole body cools down. It's a very
Isn't that
strange
weird?
thing.
That is weird, isn't it?
It
That's
is.
weird.
Yeah.
But the point is that invest in it because it's worth it, and you will notice, like, you will. One of the things about when you're at a hotel, really good hotels, is when they invest in those beautiful duvets and those
Yes, the
beautiful. You
nice
just
duvets,
sink
but the
into the
pillows
bed.
are
Oh,
never good.
it depends on the hotel. It does.
I've been in really nice hotels and I've
Yeah,
never had a good pillow
I've had
because
some
I
good
need a
ones.
pillow that is
Firm or soft?
ergonomic.
Okay. Well, I wonder if you could request it. I mean, most of
I
the
don't
times, I
know.
think you should be able to. Or yeah, you should be able to. I think. Or
I don't
maybe they'll
know.
just bring more pillows up. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's probably their answer.
Yeah.
I've
And
never
that's the
had a
other thing
problem.
is I have pillows all the way around. Like I literally will make a nest, right? So I have the pillow here at so that my arms can go around. I have a pillow between my knees. I have a pillow at my back.
I
There's
wrap
barely any
myself.
room for David on the bed because pillows everywhere.
I like to wrap myself completely, like a burrito in bed. Um, but that's just a comfort thing, and ultimately, that's what it is. Comfort could mean the difference between a shitty dream and a good one. I sometimes, but most of the time, it's just your environment. I will just say that having the opportunity to talk about it just makes me realize just how powerful these these the dreams that you have an
Right.
effect on your life. You know,
Oh
if you
yeah.
if you can remember them. If you
Yeah.
can't, there's nothing wrong with you either. It's just that's just how you are,
And
where you
I
sleep.
love them
Yeah,
when because I dream in so much detail and remember every single detail. When I can't remember a dream, I know I dreamt because when I'm exhausted,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because they are so active, but I can't remember the details. It makes me insane. I love it when I can remember all the details.
I struggle sometimes, depending on the dream. If there's one really powerful, I will remember. I think our listeners would agree with the one main premise is sleep well, spend that money and get yourself a damn good mattress,
Yeah.
one that's going to fit you. It really makes a difference. If once you have a chance to spend the time to go and test them out, if you are looking for something new,
Yeah,
test
but
them,
testing them
test
out for
them.
what, 10, 15 minutes?
Nope,
I it
stay longer. You test them.
I would need to
Stay.
test it for a couple of days.
Well, but isn't that the beauty?
Sorry, sleep country. I'm gonna be sleeping here tonight. Do you have a duvet that I can use? That's
I
the only
remember.
way that I actually know if it's gonna work.
I remember we got a mattress there, and the box spring that came with it. It was so high, we literally had to jump into the
Oh,
bed.
my sister's bed is like that. Her guest
Oh,
room bed, it's like that. I'm like, "How do you get in and out
I
of
know.
this bed?"
It's
So I took
hilarious.
the chair that she has near it, pulled it close so I would step onto the chair and then onto the bed because
It's
I
great.
couldn't. There was no way,
I know it is
especially
so
me and
funny.
short.
Oh, but I for me at the time I really appreciated the height because it was hard enough before the hip surgery just to get
Right.
out of the bed. But now it's great. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, well, not a futon. Oh my god, if it was a futon, I'd never get out. It would be game
Yeah.
over. I'm staying
Futons
here for
are
the whole holiday.
only for university students.
Totally. But anyway, but I do want to say thanks everybody for listening to us share our dreams. And I don't know if you're in the mood for sharing yours with us. If not, no worries. You can just enjoy listening to us. It's fine.
Well, we would love to read your comment at the end of this podcast.
And of course, as I always repeat myself every time with our episodes, if you have an interesting thing you want to share with us, or hell, even a topic or something that you may want us to talk about, we are open to that. You can write to us at theconnieandsteve@gmail.com, Or you can listen to us and write comments under our various platforms, which Miss Connie now will share with us. Connie, I always get you to
It's
do it.
Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, and Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcast from.
That's right. Thanks,
Uh,
everybody. And
Thank you
thank
for the
you, my friend.
following. Thank you for the listening.
Yes.
And thank you, Stephen, for
And
listening to
thank
my
you, my love.
strange dreams and not completely thinking I'm a wackadoodle.
I think you're a wackadoodle, but so am I. So it's all good. You're good company.
Aw, thanks.
I love you. I'll talk to
Love
you
you
later.
too. Bye.
Bye.